Good morning, dear friends. And welcome on this Sunday morning to the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship at Stony Brook, where we are coming together today to celebrate Juneteenth and Father's Day and the 12 years of ministry with us by our minister, the Reverend Margie Allen, as she enters into a new adventure, retirement. Welcome to you who are here in our sanctuary, and welcome to all who are attending virtually. My name is June Cerveni, and I am happy to be your worship associate this morning, co-leading this service with the Reverend Margie Allen for the very last time. My heart is full of love and thanks this morning, and also my heart is broken open. This morning, it's all the things. Deb Little is our Director of Religious Education, and information about our religious education program for children and youth may be found on our website at UUFSB.org. I'd like to offer a special welcome to anyone who is new to our fellowship, and I hope that you will find among us inspiration for living and nourishment for your spirit. Unitarian Universalism as a living tradition has two commitments: freedom of belief and an orientation toward inclusion, interdependence, and justice. You can find additional information about the principles we choose to live by, again, on our webpage at UUFSB.org. If you are attending this service virtually, please watch the chat for the order of service and a few important links during the service, especially the visitors form and the feedback form. We would love to hear from you. And of course, I have a few announcements this morning. First, as we can see, today we celebrate our Flowers and Passages service. We have each had the opportunity to bring a flower as a gift, placing it here before us for all to enjoy. And in a little bit, we will have the opportunity to come forward, share a milestone or a passage, and take a different flower home. Please know that even if you have forgotten to bring a flower this morning, do not hesitate to come and choose a flower to take home, because we have very many flowers. After the service this morning, we will celebrate Reverend Margie's retirement with lunch and a few heartfelt presentations. Even if you are here for the very first time, please stay and be with us for this farewell celebration. A stalwart crew of helpers will be setting up for the luncheon, and they kindly ask if you would please leave the kitchen to them so that they may speedily accomplish the needful transition. Reverend Margie is also leaving us with some of her treasures, and I believe that it is not too late to purchase some raffle tickets, which will be available at the table at the back of the sanctuary after the service. And finally, 1 week from today, on June 26th, it will be the final day of the annual General Assembly of our Unitarian Universalist Association in Portland, Oregon. And we will be joining them and UU congregations all over the United States and beyond for their closing worship service. However, due to the time difference, this will not be starting until 12:30. This service will be available to us both at home and also here in the sanctuary for those of us who wish to gather in person. If you are watching the service at home, please log in around 12:20, as Reverend Margie will be doing a short introduction before the service. And if you are coming here to the fellowship building, know that we will be having our coffee hour starting at 11:15, which is to say, before the service. And then we are going to have our worship time. So please don't forget, it's very important. Let us now enter into the sacred space of worship with the sounding of the morning bell. May the hearers awaken from forgetfulness and transcend all anxiety and sorrow. If you are attending our service virtually this morning, you might like to light a chalice or a candle at home, as we light ours here in the sanctuary. I have asked Donna Damien to light our chalice this morning, and I share some words by the Reverend Dr. William Sinkford. In the presence of these flowers, these representations of creation's bountiful beauty, diverse and unique, but related and interdependent, these flowers, which come to us as gifts from we know not where, and which we in turn choose to bring with us to our shared and common altar. As gifts to one another, and in their presence, we turn our thoughts to the mystery beyond mysteries, to the most sacred, which we never fully understand, but of which we are granted glimpses in each of these flowers and in each of our faces.
Oh. So I have to ad-lib for just a minute. One of the items back there was a glass heart. And the first time I had the raffle display out and was packing it up, the glass heart fell on the floor and broke. So I share the heartbroken open thing. And I just got a present from someone that's another pendant with a heart on it. So, and I have one on right now. The other thing I want to mention is that I saw the chipmunk already. Last week he kept running by and he had like basketballs in his cheek. And I hope that the Baltimore Oriole will come to visit too, so keep an eye out for the orange. So good morning. I've never been so nervous. For some reason I don't even understand. Welcome to this June service in which for the last 11 we have recognized important milestones of the congregational year that's coming to an end. This year, though, we face a more complicated threshold than the passage into our summer service series and the joys of the season. But I'm hoping that we will come away with the same comfort and promise. Beginnings are embedded in the endings, always. We'll name the milestones for our fellowship, and you'll name yours as individuals as well, and we will commune with the flowers. And I'm hoping you found an index card and a pencil on your seat. Maybe you have something better to write with than a golf pencil. I hope so. And between now and the beginning of our flower communion, which happens towards the end of the service, I'd like to invite each of you to write down a personal passage or achievement or milestone on that card, one or two very short sentences, maybe 20 or so vivid, memorable words. That's it. And you'll have plenty of time to write and think about what you want to say during our offertory and silent meditation. There's a lot of time between now and then. And you'll have the opportunity later in the service to come to a mic on this side or a mic on this side to read your sentences out loud, which is lovely for us to hear what door you all have passed through this year out loud. but you don't have to. Thinking about it and writing it down might be the most important thing for you. You can write about any important movement in your life since last June. It could be a loss or a commitment or a birth or a graduation or a retirement. I know I'm not alone in retiring. Might be some skill you mastered, a victory of some kind, an award or an honor, or a change in your job situation, or a divorce or a birth, a loss, an insight. You get it, right? Diagnosis, a cure. For example, my sentence might say, I have 6 more weeks with you before I retire from our ministry. Today, I am a mess of anticipation and grief. That's 22. That describe my situation right now. I'm struggling to be present. So if you see me not being present, you want to call me back, you can go like this. So of all that was your life this year, what do you most want this community of friends to know and remember about it? And this Tuesday morning at 5:13 in the morning, the summer solstice will be upon us. On this, the week of the longest day, our entry into summer, we gather to remember together how this congregational year, how in this year we've moved and how we've been moved, how we've moved and been moved over the course of 12 years. We can't stop time, but we can mark its passage and its gifts through the thick and thin of this year, as through the whole panblurmic we carried the flame.
In the toughest time you ever knew, the only thing that you could do is carry the flame.
Sickness spreading through the land, you held your spirit in your hand, and you carried the flame.
Storms and sorrows gathered round, you raised your head and stayed your ground. Carried the flame.
Through endless days of the hardest living, you kept on loving, kept on giving. You kept on and carried the flame. Carried the flame, raise it high, send your freedom through the sky. Keep it strong and shining through the flame. Let it rise and let it grow. Let it light the world you know. Let it grow. Carry the flame. And when the day is done at last, we take on the spark you cast and carry the flame. From hand to hand we send it on, the kindling hope of a rising dawn. In us all
We have a responsive reading to share this morning. 12 words of thanks for 12 years together. I will read, and please repeat the words of thanks that appear in italics after each statement. Oh, they don't have that. Oh, okay. For all the sculptors of this faith and its martyrs and its challengers, for passing down to us a religion worthy of our devotion, our stewardship and our care in delivering to the generations that follow us. For your gift and sacrifices you made in the giving, we honor you. For your gift and sacrifices made in the giving, we honor you. For the 19 founders of this fellowship, for your love, your courage, your foresight, your determination, and your generosity in envisioning and manifesting a UU fellowship in the 3 villages. For all of these qualities and for your long tending of this community, we thank you. For all of these qualities and for your long tending of this community, we thank you. For the land we have come to love, for the woods and the creatures living with us here, for the Sitalkat natives who tended this land before us, for the trees and the flowers, the Baltimore oriole and the other birds, for the chipmunk, the unicorn, and other animals, both actual and mythical. We give thanks for your companionship on the web of life we share. We give thanks for your companionship on the web of life we share. For the playground and the benches and the parking lot and the poetry path and the memorial garden and the outdoor labyrinth and the decks and the tents that allow us to gather outside for conversation, ritual, and celebration. For all of the people who made them, bought them, and maintain them, we give thanks. We give thanks. For this building, this congregation erected and expanded, for the sanctuary and classrooms, offices, kitchen, and foyer, for our furnace and our solar panels, for the diamond window, the inlaid labyrinth, the pulpit and chalice table, this dais, the stairs up to it, and the wooden chalice, and for the makers and caretakers of these things and others. We offer our deep gratitude. We offer our deep gratitude. For all the usual suspects in every generation who take the lead in getting things done, who think things through and plan things out, who appear magically when needed, come running in emergencies, gain knowledge and know-how, who go above and beyond and replace themselves when the time comes to rest. We will always be grateful. We will always be grateful. For the many who drop in to take care of a task and later another and another. For the do-bees, the go-fors, and all the people who say, yes, I'll lend a hand, I'll be there, I'll bring one, I'll clean up, I'll help with setup, I'll make enough for 6, I'll help with the children and their glue and confetti. For every hand that's lent, we give our thanks. We give our thanks. For the ways that we tend to each other, listening, feeding, comforting, teaching, visiting, helping, honoring, and remembering. Those riches of love we give and receive with profound gratitude. Those riches of love we give and receive with profound attitude. For how similar we are to one another, and for our differences, and for the empathy and creativity made possible in the mix of it here. How can we ever say thank you enough? How can we ever say thank you enough? For the children and the elders among us who are as close to wise as a human being can be, and for the ones in between who are more than wise enough to care for the young and the old alike, in sickness and in health. May our gratefulness sustain you. May our gratefulness sustain you. For the opportunity to be alive today and connected one to each other, each in this moment, we give thanks. We give thanks. For life itself, which takes us through the cycle of the seasons, and the spirit of life which moves in us and through us as we go round and round, we give our deep and heartfelt thanks. We give our deep and heartfelt thanks. Amen. Our opening hymn this morning is number 294 in the Gray Hymnal, Our Praise We Give. What does it mean to praise? To praise means to recognize, name, and receive with gratitude and humility the gifts of the past, the opportunities of the present, and the possibilities of the future. And in doing so, to glimpse beyond the giver's hands the hidden source. Please stand in body or in spirit to join in singing number 294, Our Praise We Give. Our friend Terry Cuvell will play the hymn first through on the recorder.
Thank you, Terry. We're going to get to the 2021-22 congregational milestones this year, the end of an important look back through some highlights of our 12 years together, and June and I are going to alternate.
2010 to 2011, the year of meeting and beginning. Something new and out of the blue happened. Margie floated in on her personal parachute and landed very gently in our sanctuary, this one. We liked each other. We became together a wheel, spokes and hum and rim and rolling we, our cargo a ministry to one another and the world. She said, I have found in you a congregational partner capable of supporting consistently excellent worship. You have a feel for worship. We set about worship that works, and belonging, and committee handbooks, and a Thich Nhat Hanh Sangha, and a shawl ministry. We hired Greta, listened to her story, Hobbs farmed, lobbied for marriage equality, and made amazing music together.
2011-12, the year of marriage equality. I said, we experimented with collaborations across internal boundaries, beginning to see ourselves more as a network of people with energy, muscle, brains, and skills and common ends than as isolated and sometimes competing groups and individuals. We made goals for the consulting ministry. The board studied the big picture. Staff meetings started to happen, and healthy congregations, and Defying Gravity, a music steering committee, a new member service, an orientation series called Belonging, the first homecoming, the Fighting Unicorns. I said, this February 12th Sing in My Heart Sunday service highlighted our power as a community of faith to add to our numbers to large social justice movements that are aligned with our values and congregational commitments in the aim of creating real structural change. And of course, that service was very meaningful to Linda and me, the occasion of our New York State marriage.
2012-2013, the year of the golden anniversary, the hurricane, and the vote to call. 8 days before Hurricane Sandy hit the island, UUFSB celebrated our 50th. We wrote a new fellowship history, won an award for growth, sad news notifications came to be, and greeters, and ushers, and the Summer Service Development Guide, and Joint Justice potlucks. And out there in the world, there were shootings and bombings, a movie theater, the Sikh temple, Sandy Hook, Boston. And Margie stood for a vote to call, and we called her for our settled minister. And many people clapped and cried, and a few left the fellowship. And she said, this is a great congregation. Your greatness is in the fierce commitment of competent leaders to managing the balance between security and risk that we are called by our times and our mission to find. Your greatness is in your eagerness to explore, to learn, to grow, to accept the challenges that arise, and to shape faithful responses to them. Your greatness is in your joyful response to community, to life, your ability to laugh, to sing out in good times and bad, to make and share beautiful music, your amazing creativity, your attention to one another's needs. Your greatness is in your ability to embrace the new faces, the new stories, the new gifts, the new longings that come visiting every Sunday, and to welcome them into the circle of work and love that we nurture here.
2013 to 2014, the year of installation and final fellowship walk. This year in October, we created a fabulous service of installation and a new seating pattern for services, blue name tags for newcomers, the Wonder Box, a Joys and Concerns column in the newsletter, helping hands, purveyors of food and rides, memorial committee policies and procedures. I thought to myself, enough is a very faint line in the sand of ministry, and searching for what it feels like to toe that line cost me a lot in uncertainty, guilt, and anxiety. I said to you, volunteering has to be part of what it means to be a member. Leadership must become a privilege and an inspiration, not a burden. In creating leadership roles, we mustn't waste people's time. Work bites have to be doable by busy people and bring consistent rewards. Accountable collaboration has to be the foundation of all our work.
2014-2015, the year of the social justice blitz. We wrote job descriptions for the Board of Trustees and for all our employees. The board learned about fair compensation and began to reimagine our organizational structure. Margie asked them, what would an accurate and meaningful depiction of what we do look like? It was a year of social unrest and activism in our country. Close to half of Sunday services focused on social justice issues, including a series on democracy. We asked our endowment to make only socially responsible investments. We took a giant step toward fair compensation of our employees. We bought and installed solar panels. 100 of us joined the People's Climate March. 45 of us cheered Margie onto the stage during the service of the living tradition at the Providence, Rhode Island General Assembly as she was welcomed into final fellowship. In May, we danced ribbons around a maypole and received the June Z. Gillespie Award for congregational participation in denominational affairs.
2015-16, the year of mission vision. This year, our Metro New York district expanded and became the Central East region. This was the first year of annual assessments for staff, minister, and board. It was also the year of the disappearing moon party, the stone soup potluck dinner, the sanctuary displays team, a UUFSB series, bereavement groups with Linda Anderson, Gill's humanism discussion group, a personnel committee, and 8-year-old Robert Dorso ran a fundraiser for a new outdoor play set. At the dedication, I said, this playground is a symbol of how we want to be in the world with one another, starlit and chalice lit, set in sun-dappled nature, joyful, sturdy, colorful, safe, a place of welcome and care, a place where sharing is always how it is, where everyone is equal and everyone needs help and gives it. We asked, is this a congregation that will publicly stand with people of color whose lives still mean less than white lives in our country, to say together, Black Lives Matter? We were.
2016-2017, the year of the banner aftermath and the disappearing preschool. Margie said, we are linked in a network of UU congregations and institutions and groups that shared the values and vision described in our principles and our history of activism as a faith. It is really only at that level of networked collaboration that we have any meaningful hope of influencing trends in society, of really making a noise that can be heard, a disruption that can be seen, an innovation that has real impact at scale. The Black Lives Matter banner went up. Some of us left or retreated or withheld financial support, but some of the many who remained headed resolutely into the real work. Margie said, our fellowship equips us for this work by helping us to calibrate the moral compass of our own lives, to cope with the stresses in our lives, to leverage the energy of the spirit of life. Here we access opportunities to learn about injustice in the world and how we are, at times, complicit in that injustice. We acquired the tools we need for bringing about change. We began to learn together how white supremacy works. This was the year of the Earth Scripture Service series, of the Newcomer Long-Timer Spring Potluck, of the North Brookhaven Rapid Response and Sanctuary Network, the year 80 of us joined the January Women's March, the year we became the second largest UU congregation on Long Island with 245 members.
2017, 2018, a year of despair and repair. This was the year of the first Thanksgiving potluck dinner in our sanctuary. We passed a policy to guide future decisions about proposals for congregational stands on social justice issues. We decided to terminate our rental contract with Imagination Preschool, whose business model was now clearly in conflict with our faith's principles and our priorities. The fallout from the banner was causing us pain. I said, the truth is, people flow in and out of congregations in dribbles or torrents for many reasons. Sometimes we notice and sometimes we don't. This is how it is, how it's always been, and how it will always be. Our job, meanwhile, is to be consistently faithful to our call and purpose as a congregation and as a member congregation in an association of Unitarian Universalist congregations. I said, I estimate that maybe as much as 8 to 12% of the congregation have mixed feelings or negative feelings about services that focus on social justice issues and actions that we take as a congregation to mitigate them since the climate march in 2014. But I think it's important to keep in mind that another 8 to 12% are likely to be just as outraged and to choose to leave the congregation or stop attending services if we failed to address social justice issues on Sundays and failed to engage in justice making as a significant part of what we do together as a congregation.
2018, 2019, the year with sabbatical and the new rainbow sign. This year, over the summer, Deb Little became our new Director of Religious Education. We dedicated our new rainbow inclusion sign on Nichols Road at homecoming, a fire communion. There were 4 Vespers services. The work of the Organizational Structure Committee began. The old preschool office became the room of requirement. Our sanctuary acquired an East Setauket zip code. And Margie prepared us for her first half sabbatical and disappeared in January and came back at the end of March. We managed quite well. While she was gone, we rehabilitated and reappointed the minister's office. It was the calm between the storms.
2019, 2020, the year the virus came and stayed. In the fall, we cleaned up our Nichols-facing landscaping and resurfaced our parking lot. We deployed the Black Lives Matter banner again on Nichols Road. But this year was really all about a thing called pandemic. After one missed service in March, the fellowship left the fellowship as we went fully COVID-19 virtual. And we found out that snowbirds and former members who'd moved away were going to come back as musicians and participants in services. We all force-gained new tech skills, like it or not. We delivered meals to SBU, donations to the Open Door Exchange, gave weekly space to Long Island Care's food pantry, put a lot more money in our collection plate. We created a pandemic response team. We got a federal loan to help with payroll and win-win money from the UUA's Wake Now Vision Legacy Challenge. And Pat Kaminsky, our office assistant, retired. We experienced the first ever all-virtual General Assembly service together. This was the year of the half-aborted sabbatical leave, the second part in which I, with one foot in and one foot out, had trouble balancing. And I said, and there you go. This is how we rolled in the congregational year just closing. We flexed, we innovated, we stayed connected, we pulled together, we grieved and protested and served, and in the process, we grew our capacity to adjust to radical change.
2020, 2021, a year of fine-tuning ourselves to the ravages of COVID, violence, and political upheaval. This was the year of fine-tuning post-sabbatical virtual services. This was the year of the first virtual homecoming with stuffed animals standing in for us as participants in the service in the actual sanctuary. It was the first virtual flowers and passages. It was family holiday gift bags, virtual Vespers, and winter solstice services for all. An island-wide UU virtual service called Remembering the Body. A new PVC fellowship sign went up on Nichols Road, and a camera to keep watch on things. Thanks, Ron Posnick. A master gardener named John Lutterby began mastering our gardens. This was also the year of reaction to George Floyd's murder, of UU the vote, of the presidential election, of the People's Plan for Police Reform on Long Island, of the January 6th insurrection, of the publication of Widening the Circle, report of the UUA Commission on Institutional Change, our template for addressing white supremacy in our own religious movement. Also, of the organization of our own Eighth Principle Task Force and a draft by the COMC of a covenant of right relationship for our fellowship. And gradually, we came back to our building, the renters first.
21-22, the year of fatigue. I don't think I'm speaking for myself only. We knew by now that there would be no clear end to this pandemic. We innovated our ways towards live in-sanctuary services live streamed to YouTube. We managed a hybrid homecoming. We put together adaptable safety protocols. We hired Rob Pond to help us with live streaming. We hosted the Three Village Clergy Interfaith Thanksgiving service with clergy, choir, and tech folk alone in our sanctuary, doors wide open to the windy 40-degree night air, frigidly live streaming to a cozy virtual congregation. We partnered with the Freeport UUs in a Zoom Martin Luther King service. My intent to retire became known. We repaired our kitchen, badly damaged by a flood. At the annual meeting, we adopted the proposed eighth principle in the covenant of right relationship, and I said, enough already with the resistance to confronting racism at this juncture in our nation's and our association's history. Let's just do the work, all of us together. Remember, I say, fear not. We mounted a virtual auction and a picnic concert fundraiser. We welcomed 14 new members. We found an interim minister. We conducted delayed memorial services for John Lieber, Bernie Stiebel, founder Joan Fike, longtime UU leader Edith Hull, and a friend of the congregation, Rita Galvetrano. Delilah Celia Hammer and Suzanne Goldstein Petrosino were married to their men, and Mary Cuny and Scott Tripp to each other. Diana Selig moved to San Diego, Jess Pond to Buffalo, Nancy Hunter and Brett Parker only lately to Amherst, Massachusetts. Garrett, Ariana, Sawyer, Rose, Edmund, and Jaden celebrated their coming of age. And on May 29th, the Rubenstein family and friends came together for the interment of Nina's ashes. And all along, this whole past spring, minister and congregation executed a meaningful farewell. We worked together to do what needed to be done. We were changed for good. Blessed be.
It is our spiritual practice to share our offering plate with a deserving social justice recipient. All cash will be shared 50-50 between UUFSB and the social justice recipient unless you instruct us differently. And if you write a check, you may instruct on the memo line how to direct the division of the amount. The recipient for this month of June is Gender Equality New York, otherwise known as Jenny. Jenny is a statewide nonprofit organization whose mission is to support transgender, gender non-binary, and intersex New Yorkers and their families. Their core mission is to advocate by engaging in education and outreach to create understanding and influence social attitudes. They provide educational forums for the general public and training sessions for healthcare providers, police, jails, and professional organizations. They also advocate in Albany for legislation ensuring gender equality for all New Yorkers. They were successful in helping to pass the legislation that created gender-neutral bathrooms in public spaces, and they continue to push for legislation that protects trans and non-binary people. Please give generously to support their valuable work.
We are met together, and in meeting we are blessed. Peace in coming and in going, peace in labor and in rest. We are met together, and in meeting we are blessed. Peace in coming.
Welcome to a moment now to rest after all those words, sung and spoken, to relax your muscles, to become aware of your breathing, of the sounds around you. If you haven't already, you can take a moment to write down a personal passage or achievement or a milestone on your index card. 20 or so words. Just capture the essence of all that was your life since this time last year. What do you most want the community that loves you to know and remember? We enter now into the relative silence, from which Peter's piano will call us back after a bit with Spirit of Life, number 123 in the hymnal, and I'll join in singing with you on the other side. The Flower Communion service is a particularly Unitarian tradition created by the Reverend Norbert Čapek, the founder of the Unitarian Church in Czechoslovakia. He was born in 1870 and died in a concentration camp in 1942 while his wife was introducing the concept of the Flower Communion to the Unitarians here in the U.S. In all the many Unitarian congregations that offer a flower communion in the spring, members of the congregation bring a flower as an offering and take one away as a gift. Our wish is that the flower you take home with you this morning will be for you a message of hope and survival and perseverance. And may the one that you brought to the service this morning find the right hand to bring it home, the right eyes to take in its particular beauty and its promise. May the flowers we share from these baskets be washed in the human stories we tell each other now. May they be imbued with the love that binds us in the sharing and the telling. So in a minute, I'm going to invite you to come forward to this mic and that mic. Read your sentence if you want to, and then don't forget to come and pick up a flower from Laura Lesh here from our collection, and then return to your seat. So you're going to come down on the outside aisles, talk, alternating, and then you're going to get your flower, and then you're going to go back to your seat up the middle. Okay? Sometimes we do quadrants, but I don't think you need it. So I invite you to come and make lines on the side. And come even if you don't want to read out loud, because you want to get a flower even if you're not reading anything. And I reserve the right to make you stop if you go on too long. Okay, let's start over here on this side.
Hello, my UU friends. I'm Terry Sepola, and this is my opportunity to tell you how much I appreciated everything that you've done for me this past year. As I struggled with my surprise cancer diagnosis, I received the unwavering support and love of my UU friends. You had offered us food, shawls, labyrinth walks, music, flowers, and your enduring friendship when we needed it the most. Even while we had the pandemic raging and you guys had a life to lead. So how can I ever say thank you enough for allowing me to experience the full joy and activism of the UU community and be able to maintain our enduring friendship. I love you all. Thank you so much for what you've done for me.
We love you, Terry. She was the exception.
What she said. And I would just add my thankfulness for the 47 years I've had with this woman, 45 of which we had been married, and the UU family that we've had here for 22 years.
Yes, the full flowering of my experience here was in my wedding ceremony with Sarah, and I treasure that experience and the experience of Margie marrying us at that time.
As a new member, but a returning member after maybe 30 years, I'm Susan Roscoe. And we also had a significant year in that this was the year that we moved after 52 years in one house in Oakdale into a senior living community. Now in this new community, I now was able to perform as a dancer after 3-4 years of not wondering if I would ever dance again after personal illness and COVID. Thank you.
Hi. I had a malignant brain tumor removed a few months ago. So, thanks to everybody. It seems to have been completely removed. I'm feeling good, and I very much appreciate everybody's concern, thoughts, and prayers, and made a big difference.
Hi, I'm Norm Roscoe, in and outer membership from way back to the 1970s to today. My response today is beautiful memories of when we used to be a lay-led society, and there's an interim period where we brought in a series of ministers on a various levels, so that the beginning of our professional leadership started with a minister known by Reverend Fred Muir. Then the next stage was a interim minister named Reverend Steve Eddington. And finally, the ultimate destination was the installation of Reverend Kate Lehman. This occurred in probably the late 70s through the decade of the 80s. So we go way back. And boy, are we fortunate, because this continuity led to our current leadership, which we are so blessed. We thank all of you, and we wish the very best for the future lives of our retiring clerical leaders.
Thanks, Norm. Okay, you guys, be honing. Look around.
That's a lot of pressure.
I know, I'm sorry.
At this point. So I'm also filled with gratitude and love for all of you helping us through this time. So I'm filled with gratitude and healing. This is a time of healing. And just to go back to the fall when we went skydiving, another milestone, but I think for me it's this lesson in letting go.
I'm filled with joy and gratitude for the miraculous success of my first daughter's spinal surgery, and joy and gratitude for my younger daughter's acceptance into the NP doctoral program at Hofstra.
I'll be brief. Returning to travel and to family I've missed so much.
More than this year, actually more than ever this year, I hold the duality of life, the light and the dark, the anger and the love, reactive and respect, the sadness and the joys, and embracing what is in the journey of life.
The highlight of this year for me is 2 weeks ago, COVID did not beat me, I beat it.
With the passing of my loved Uncle David, I have become the matriarch of the Epner family.
Your Highness.
This coming week, I leave a job of 7 years, while in September I begin in a new school district, and my husband is retiring at the end of June after 37 years in his field, or as we say, leaving one management for another.
I'm Elise Nichols Powell, and Margie had said today, among the thousands and thousands of true statements that and inspiring statements that she has made over the years, that beginnings are embedded in endings, and I certainly feel that. It's been a little over 2 years since my husband passed, and after COVID and his passing, it feels right for me to get out in the world again and socialize and go places and see things and visit friends and travel. So I'm doing that.
Lost a dog and a job, got a puppy and a new job, and began as a side hustle my new dream of training dogs professionally.
I was diagnosed with cancer in 2020, and just like Terry, I was uplifted by this fellowship and by Margie. I will forever be grateful for their unconditional love and support. Today, my health is restored, and I rejoice to be here.
Well, my life is moving along in its usual merry way, thanks to modern medicine, and I don't believe I'm going to be 80 this fall.
She's a usual suspect.
My name is Carolyn Loofborough, and I'm a newly minted member of this UU. I recently, similar to Elise, I recently suffered the loss of my longtime significant other, and I'm here to make friends and move on from my grief. Did you hear all that? Thank you.
Welcome.
Hold the flower.
I came over to the fellowship because I thought it would be a good place to meet someone, and it was a brilliant success. I met Ginger, and then I had the fellowship, and we got Margie. It's been good.
New beginnings. They begin with an ending. I made the difficult decision to sell my home 51 years ago. I moved here to Hapag. Now I'm moving to Jefferson's Ferry in South Setauket, not far at all. Of course, I'll take memories with me and continue to make more memories with you, my wonderful congregation. Thank you.
My name is Dylan Masters. This past year, I actually recently became an official member of the fellowship as opposed to just involved as a youth. And I've also finally transitioned to working as a full-time position rather than through various temp agencies for the last few years. So I'm very, very proud of that, and I want to thank Margie and all the members of this welcoming community for helping build up my confidence and character. Thank you.
Turning 70 this year was sobering, but it also induced me to reconsider and reorder my priorities for the future.
And after 40 years, I have moved from the home in St. James where Roger and I brought up our children, and Neil and I are now living in a lovely townhouse in East Setauket.
Hi, as a new member, I just want to say that my timing was terrible to come now as Margie's leaving, but I really do believe that a person can touch you in a very short amount of time. And Linda and Margie have done that, and I'll hold them in my heart. And I want to thank the universe for the gift of shock that kept me numb as a blanket of protection through my husband's diagnosis, treatment, and recovery this past year.
In August, I retired without regret, and I became president of the board, to my surprise, without regret.
I am very thankful as a new member that there is a place where people are together simply for the purpose of respecting and loving each other without dogma attached.
I wrote too much on my card, but the thing I want to share is that I'm very honored to be becoming a worship associate this year. And my only regret so far is that I won't get to work with Margie in that. But I trust in the universe.
I'm Jonna Jeffress. I've been coming here for about 10 years. I joined the fellowship around, I think it was 2012. I lost my husband after 10 years. We got married in '99. He died in '09, and I sold my house a few years later and moved into an apartment and started coming to this fellowship. And I love it, and I hope to be a member for a long time. I wrote over to thank you from Margie. It says, with all the other situations and obligations you have had to deal you found time to help me to get to the hospital after my stroke a few years ago, to feed my cat Hudson for an entire month while I was in the hospital. You've taken me or arranged rides for me to doctor appointments, and since I gave up my car, to the grocery store to get my record player repaired, and so many other things I've probably forgotten. You are a genuine, loving person, and I love you. You are the best. I will never forget.
I love you too.
It is good to look out and see so many familiar faces and new faces too. I came up here for a flower.
My name is Karen Fernsler, and our granddaughter Sarah was not christened, isn't that terrible? Dedicated here, and now she's graduating high school and going to CW Post, so Tef and I are very happy for that. Thank you.
I just want to say how thankful I am for Margie being a part of this chapter of our lives.
I'm Katie Johnston. My milestone is I'm submitting my completed book manuscript to the publishers this week with a lot of hope and relief and some anxiety and a lot of gratitude for the time and space to work on it.
I decided to wrap up a 48-year career as an academic librarian, and Lori and I are preparing to move to Washington, D.C. to be near our daughter.
Hi, we're always very grateful for our fellowship family with raising our 3 children after being here for 36 years,
and we have become Kenzo Leonardo Maggio's extremely happy grandparents.
Hi, I'm Kathleen Mazza, and this year our son got engaged to his college sweetheart, and we're gaining a daughter.
And I just want to add that we both are joining the great retirement. We're both semi-retiring this year. And I'm so happy to see so many people back and that we beat COVID as a fellowship.
Yeah.
Hi, I just wanted to say that I'm so grateful to have the congregation and Margie, although I've been away for a while. You've helped me to cope with so many issues, for which I'm eternally grateful. The loss of both my parents has been a struggle, but the good shining light through it all is that it's been bringing our family closer together, and I'm really grateful for that as well. Thank you.
I'm Lorraine. I'm a fairly new member. This past year, I lost a very dear relationship, somewhat unexpectedly, and was sent into a time of the unknown and great change and solitude. And at the same time, I've been held in such love with my dear friends, family, and that includes all of you. And Margie, thank you. You've meant so much to me.
7 years ago, I was diagnosed with a rare eye melanoma. I'd never heard of it before. I'm alive today, and that's what I'm grateful for.
Much gratitude for another year of life and joy with my wonderful husband.
Hi. My small family of different backgrounds, yet common spiritual goals, stumbled upon this beautiful, welcoming, compassionate, spirit of life-giving, and received community. We thank you all immensely. with love and light.
I was inspired here to keep growing my love and courage by Margie, Linda, Barbara, Joan, and others. Thanks.
Hi, everyone. I'm Susan Catanzaro, for those that don't know me. And for those of you that don't recognize me
She's our
anymore with my
congregational
gray hair.
administrator.
I am grateful for another year of service to this fellowship. Thank you very much. And it's been my pleasure working with Margie these past 12 years. I am going to miss her immensely. She has been a fabulous boss to me and a great asset. And she has helped me along on my spiritual journey, whether or not she knows it or not.
This year, I joined a congregation for the first time after being raised without a spiritual community. I am very excited about this new path with you, learning so much from you, receiving your sincere acceptance and so much love. Thank you, and thank you, Margie.
So Holly is graduating high school a week from today, and I know there's some of you here who first saw her when she was just a year old. It's been a year of last times for us, which is very intense. A lot of letting go while still holding on. We're totally dreading the empty nest, but we're so excited for her new adventures and also hopefully some of our own. And that's the biggest thing. And also, Margie, we're going to miss you a lot, even though we're here so little. You're amazing.
Hi, everyone. My name's Amy Hammock, and this year I actually joined the COMC and have really, really enjoyed it. I always thought I didn't have time to do it because I'm raising my kids, but I did, and the covenant of right relations passed, so I'm proud of that, and I got to work with Margie, and that was great.
Bob Hessner, and I'm also here for a flower, and I yield my time to others.
Thanks to each of you for being the warm, open-hearted people you are.
I want you all to know that I do have a husband. And coming here in some ways keeps our marriage going. And the joy in our life was the marriage of my son and daughter-in-law. They're a great couple, and I wish them much happiness.
Hi, I'm Anna Shalero. I haven't been here for a long time, and I'm really, really happy that I came today just for this to see her. And I'm like, I should have been here talking to you before. I've had a rough time for the last year and a half, 2 years, but I feel like I'm grateful. I'm trying to be more grateful, and I just came to say thank you for what you've done. Thank you very much. And I brought my flower late, but I'll take it back.
Hi, I'm Lem Coley. I'm happy to have recovered from my little bicycle accident. Just wanted to say we will really miss Margie. She's a strong, brave leader, smart as hell, and does in her good sermons. And I'll make a public service announcement. I'm going to start selling chocolate and coffee and tea again, I think next week after the service.
I'm Carol Coogan. I'm 83 years old. I came from a family that's life expectancy was 50. Yeah, mother, sister, they all died by the time they were 50. I had cancer and it went away. They took it out and it went away. But this year we celebrated our 61st wedding anniversary. Quietly, but it was wonderful. I had not contracted for 61 years. 10 years was my limit, but the man just stayed there. I had to live with him. Thank you.
I'm Judy Stiebel. Tomorrow is 5 months since I lost my husband, Bernie, and he's now free of pain. And I have started on a new journey, and I'm at peace. And thank you, Margie, for everything.
I will read Peter's message. And he said, I began a new meditation practice, beginning every morning by writing music. So that's what he did this year. And like Margie, we are also in transition. We know how scary it is, exciting and scary, and we love you, and we will just hold hands and jump off the cliff together, okay?
Yep.
We're going to be fine.
I think that's everybody. Peter, you must be almost out of tunes. Laura, did you want to say something? Sorry.
I would if I could.
Oh. She's wordless and heartful.
Yesterday I attended, after 7 years, my very last UUFSB board meeting, and I want to thank all of this congregation for love and support through the years.
Well, I think it's very appropriate that my last service goes for over an hour and a half. It'll be a record. But the homily is very short, so hang in there, people. We got lunch for you. So our time together is drawing to an end. You'll be in transition with Pastor Madeline Campbell for 2 years, and then we hope turning to a new chapter in the life of the fellowship in partnership with a new settled minister. I want you to relish those 2 years of review and visioning, remembering the story of your past and envisioning the story that you will bring forward from the future. That's why I wanted to do the history, you know. I hope that was worth it. I'll be entering into at least as many years of transition into life after retirement. I also intend to relish them. I wish for congregation and minister both a sure trust in the process, in the guides who present themselves to us, and in those who join us as companions on the path to the right next step. So my wife Linda's going to be serving as minister with the Freeport congregation for another year. So we won't be moving immediately. And I will be feeling my feelings during that time, getting back into better physical shape, growing a garden, learning how to groom a Tibetan Terrier. I just bought a set of grooming scissors and a table. I'll be studying Hebrew, which June and I are doing together right now. and I'll be thinking things through, organizing things on my computer. And we together, Linda and I, will be exploring upstate New York and New England as we look for our next hometown. My sister just moved to Troy, so it's possible we'll be that close. But wherever I am, I won't be far away. But I'll be very, very quiet for longer than you think is necessary. With Madeline's permission, I plan to keep all the friends I have on Facebook as of August 14th. That's a new thing in our movement. It used to be we had to unfriend everybody. But I'm going to keep everybody if Madeline's okay with that. And you might want to friend me on Facebook if you're a Facebook user, and I will accept it. So that is a huge mitigating circumstance. We get to at least see each other moving forward. I can see you guys doing what you do. I can watch the fellowship. I'll be getting the newsletter. I won't be in the dark for a minute about your antics. My ministerial colleagues and I share a set of guidelines that help us to tend very carefully to our relationships with each other and with the congregations we serve. So on departure from a ministry, we are not to distract you, the one leaving, in any way from turning your full attention to the interim process and then to developing a good relationship with the minister that you choose to call and settle here. This practice supports the departing minister's reorientation process as well. I need to be away. Otherwise, I'm still your minister. You're still in my head. So parting is difficult for all of us. It just is. In the meantime, I am still your minister until August 14th. And although technically it's a vacation and study leave, I don't have any place to go and nothing else to do. So my lake for the summer fell through in April and I couldn't find anything else. Otherwise I might have been away, but actually I'm glad I'm here. So if anybody wants to have some time with me to go out to dinner, to go to some event, to go for a walk or an outing, or if you have something on your mind that you need to be settled with before I go, I want you to come and talk to me, and I will welcome that conversation. Anything you want from me, I will give you in terms of time, and we can find a time to get together between now and the 14th, which is my last day. And after that, for at least 3 to 4 years, you won't see or hear from me very much at all except on Facebook. That's what we do for each other. And as you might imagine, it comes from years of experience in our denomination of ex-ministers making an ass of themselves. And we get to pay for decades for their behavior. So I won't be responding to your posts on Facebook, and if you comment on mine, I won't respond to those either, but I promise you I'll see them. And when you see me out and about, which you may, like at the grocery store or wherever, feel free to say hi. It's not like we have to ghost each other. But we should make our contacts fairly brief, and I don't want to hear anything about what's happening at the fellowship. It's just better that way. And if you're in a position where you need a memorial service or a wedding or some other kind of rites of passage or pastoral need, I would want you to turn to the minister that's serving you in that moment. I think in some ways this is one of the hardest things. If you've been hanging on to life because you know that I'm here to bury you, you can quit with that fantasy. So this way of parting may seem really harsh to you, and it may seem really inconsistent with our principles, which it is. But I will be, in my absence, and will always be, deeply attached to you, as I am to my internship congregation in Annapolis, Maryland, and to the people of the Unitarian Church in Westport, Connecticut. Still have friends on Facebook with them, and I still see them at things. But you, my dear friends, you are like a home country to me, in which my heart is devoted, no matter where else on earth I find myself, because you are the people I have been the longest with. Out of love, I will leave you to the work of writing your next chapter, and rest assured that chapter by chapter, I will read with relish every word that you write together. What you do here is not trivial. You are more than friends. You are more than family. You are more than one congregation of UUs alone in the world, believe it or not. You are a force for good. And I wish you fruitful discernment about how you wish to wield the power of our faith in the world that you will face in the years to come. I hope it's a better world than this one. Reach out to people who need what you can offer, and offer what you think people might need. I think this is the most important thing I want to say to you. Don't worry whether the people who come in here are young or old. Worry that the people out there who need you are not finding you, however old they are. Welcome everyone who comes, and do what you can to meet the needs of people, groups of people out there who need to know about you. Bring them all in here and surprise them with your magic that I know for a fact has people crying in the back rows for months. This fellowship will thrive. It has to. You are just so good at what you do, with or without a minister, as we have determined from my sabbatical. And I will watch, and I will be so proud. So be brave and true, my loves, in the face of every challenge that comes down the pike. All will be well, as I say. All will be well. Amen. I don't think it's traditional for us to sing hymn number 1 at the end of this service. I think it's homecoming that we sing it in. But anyway, we're going to sing it. Hymn number 1, May Nothing Evil Cross This Door.
Thank you.
And how can our closing words be anything but a poem by Mary Oliver? This is probably her most well-known poem, Wild Geese. You do not have to be good. You do not have to walk on your knees for 100 miles through the desert repenting. You only have to let the soft animal of your body love what it loves. Tell me about despair, yours, and I will tell you about mine. Meanwhile, the world goes on. Meanwhile, the sun and the clear pebbles of the rain are moving across the landscapes, over the prairies and the deep trees, the mountains and the rivers. Meanwhile, the wild geese, high in the clean blue air, are heading home again. Whoever you are, no matter how lonely, the world offers itself to your imagination, calls to you like the wild geese, harsh and exciting, over and over, announcing your place in the family of things.
Bridges are built with open hands. Bridges are built with open hands. And we begin to heal the world. We begin to heal the world. We will heal the world. We will heal the world. We will heal the world. And when the sun shines through all of us, there on the road, there'll be a rainbow in front of us, wherever we go, wherever we go. Take a single flame and pass it on. Take a single flame and pass it on. And it's enough to light the way. It's enough to light the way. We will light the way. We will light the way. We will souls who came before are standing here. You can hear them whisper low. You can hear them whisper low.
We sang that song at my installation. Do you remember? Also, there's going to be a pause while crazy things happen here. We set up for lunch. And during that pause, you can go and put more tickets in the raffle bags back there, because we're going to draw from the bags the winners during the lunch or after the lunch or at the beginning of the lunch or sometime. And our benediction this afternoon, is from Tennessee Williams. The world is violent and mercurial. It will have its way with you. We are saved only by love. Love for each other, and the love that we pour into the art we feel compelled to share. Being a parent, being a writer, being a painter, being a friend. We live in a perpetually burning building, and what we must save from it all the time is love. Amen. Lunchtime. That was a record.